Hello, Odile here. Steve is with a client at the moment, so it's just me today, and I wanted to address this topic because I've heard a lot of people refer to these kinds of pieces of advice. So, of course, the one in the title here is "Stop Whining, Start Hustling" by Gary Vee, and I just want to clarify that the reason I'm doing this video is not to criticize or judge people like Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Alex Hormozi, and others of that kind. So it's not to criticize them or judge them. The reason I'm doing this video is because they don't know what we know about the brain. So they're giving the best advice they can based on their own experience, the experience of people they've worked with, and their own knowledge. But what they don't know is that we're not all starting from the same place. We don't all have the same resources, the same mental resources and emotional resources. And they're doing the best they can with what they have. But I'm doing this video for the people out there who have been trying to follow that kind of advice, who have been doing this boot camp hustle culture kind of lifestyle and approach, and aren't seeing results. And so the purpose of this video is to give hope to those people because I was one of them. So again, the people who are giving that kind of advice are going by their own experience and what they know. And I would probably be giving the same kind of advice if I didn't have the experience I have. So this idea of work harder, stop whining, be you can sleep when you're dead, those kinds of harsh, I call it boot camp kind of advice, tough, that kind of thing, works with some people. Sure, it works. It would obviously work with the people who are giving that advice. So it works for some people, sometimes with some things. And what's going to make the difference is what unconscious references each person, each individual person's brain is referring to as evidence that proves their own self-image and worldview. And the reason I say this kind of advice can be damaging, so not only not work, but can be damaging, is because if you say, stop whining, start hustling to certain people, it'll be, oh yeah, okay, that's what I need. I need that kind of push. But you say that to someone else, and it can feed a low self-image. It can add to the evidence their brain already has of I'm not good enough, and I'll never be able to achieve what I don't deserve, and who, whatever else is going on there. So each individual person has different resources, different evidence that their brain is referring to. And so those words, that advice, means different things to different people. It's not objective. So that's why I wanted to do this. So what's the alternative? The alternative is changing the brain's GPS. So effectively, we're all trying to drive to the beach, let's say. So we're all trying to drive from the city to the beach. We all want to be at the beach. And certain people, like those gurus and others, are already ahead. They're already at the beach, and that's fantastic. That's lovely for them. And so they're trying to give advice to the rest of us who aren't at the beach yet, and we're still stuck in the city, and we're going, how do we get to the beach? And they're going, well, you just got to drive. You just got to drive through the night and try a different vehicle and fill up with different fuel. And so we're trying to do all these things. And some people do end up at the beach by doing that. But others, like me and others out there who may be watching this, we don't. We do all the things. So either we can't, we do the actual, the massive action and the hustling and the, working through the night and doing all of those things, and we still don't see the results, or we can't maintain that level of activity or level of commitment or habit or whatever, or we can't even get ourselves to do it in the first place. And that is not a conscious choice. And that's the other big big important piece here is that this is not about making a conscious choice and then doing it. This is about what's going on in the background, and it's different for different people. So to go back to that analogy of driving to the beach, what's actually going on is the people who have managed to get to the beach by following those instructions, driving in that way, filling up with that fuel, trying a different vehicle, all of that, their GPS was set for the beach. So perhaps they had to, try a different vehicle and put different fuel in and drive a little longer, that kind of thing. But their GPS was already set for the beach. That's why they ended up at the beach. For the rest of us, we may be driving the same vehicle with the same fuel. We may be driving as, with as much commitment, maybe even more in some cases, but the GPS is still set for the city. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what vehicle you drive. It doesn't matter what fuel you have in it. It doesn't matter how well you drive. It doesn't matter if you take a left turn here and a right turn there. Your GPS is still going to lead you back to the city. And so the equivalent of that is our implicit childhood memories that I call the brain's GPS that form and prove our unconscious self-image and worldview. For some of us, it's set for whatever we're experiencing right now, regardless of whether we stop whining and start hustling or do massive action or, have that attitude of I'll sleep when I'm dead. It doesn't matter if we follow all of that advice. The GPS is still leading us back to the same old results. We have to change the GPS first. And the equivalent of that is changing the implicit childhood, the negative implicit childhood memories that are proving our limiting self-image and worldview, that people like Gary Vee and others who are giving that kind of advice, they don't have those same memories. They don't have those same references. And for each person, it's individual. So I wanted to do this video just to give a little bit of hope to those people out there who have been trying to do this, and pieces of advice like stop whining and start hustling do more damage than good, because they're just adding to that limiting self-image and worldview already, because it's not a conscious choice. It's not your fault. It's not like you're, refusing to do what it takes. The unconscious part of your brain is keeping you in alignment with what's always been, and specifically with your childhood. So I hope that's helpful. If you check the description of this video, you will find, oh, I'm trying to get this banner to work. Oh, there we go. If you check the description of this video, you'll find some links to more information on how to do that. So what the GPS, what the brain's GPS is, how it's created, what the differences are. So in the webinar, we go into a lot more detail, the free webinar, we go into a lot more detail on the differences in the brain between people like Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Alex Hormozi, and others like them, and some of the rest of us. So what those differences are and how you can change yours so that it matches what they have. So there's a link to a live, our next free live webinar, so you can register for that. And there's also a link to a recording of our previous webinar, so that you don't have to wait for the live one if you'd rather watch the recording. And so check those out. Let us know if you have any questions. And I hope this was helpful. And my main mission with this video was to give hope to those who don't know this information yet. So I hope it was helpful. All right, and we will see you soon. Lots of love to all of you. Bye-bye.